Episode 10 of But Did You Die with the Jet Sisters is brought to you by our partner, MedJet. Travel insurance is great, but only gets you to the nearest acceptable hospital. MedJet gets you to a hospital at home.
Hello and welcome to episode 10 of But Did You Die with the Jet Sisters. I'm a host, Rachel.
I'm another host, Angie. Have we decided to be nicer? 10! It's 10!
What's going on, everybody? You're pointing at me.
That reminds me that Mom sent me a really funny picture. I don't know if she sent it to you too, but it's me in my prom dress and looking like I'm going to strangle you and you're just like in your underpants. Let's definitely share that with the listeners. Mom clearly discovered a treasure trove of photos. Oh, look, there's so many more photos of you. Imagine that.
Yeah, no, she sent me photos too.
Oh, wow. Oh, she sent me one. Oh, okay. There's one. That's the one.
Yeah.
That's pretty much like day-to-day life. Anyways, great. Yeah, we've seen enough of you.
Funny.
Okay.
I was the cutest child. Anyway, yeah, thanks, Mom, for those pictures. Those were fun. Hey, everyone. It's getting warm. We're gearing up for spring break in Florida. Well, I'm ready to get back into my pool because I haven't been in since like October.
Yes, I feel the same way. I can't wait to go swimming. And once all the hubbub dies down a little bit, I would like to take my own little spring break. I'm not going to have much time to go far away on a spring break this here spring, but I will be spring breaking next to my pool just as soon as it's warm.
Having a pool has changed summers in Florida for me to where now I'm looking forward to it. And we are about to get daylight back. So depression is over, everyone. We did it. We made it through seasonal depression winter, and the sun is shining, the birds are chirping, and we can be happy again.
It's been nice the past couple of days, and every time I walk outside, I'm just a little bit smilier. Not that it's been cold. We have no room to talk to anyone in the country because it's been warmer here than anywhere. It's like when it's 65, we're like, oh, winter. Oh, winter. It will be 99 degrees in 2 weeks, probably, and we'll be wishing for it to be 65 degrees.
You know where it's hot, and I did not realize it was hot, is Iowa in the summer. And here's why I know that. Ben and I signed up for a super fun activity called Ragbrai, which is...
Super fun. That's what you're going to go with.
It's a 7-day bike ride across Iowa at the end of July. You're thinking, here's what you're thinking, listener. Iowa, okay, no biggie. No, it's hot. Didn't realize. Flat, sure. No. There's 19,000 feet of elevation climb on this particular route, and it is 450 miles long, give or take. So that's what Ben and I are doing this summer.
So here's a question. How long have you and Ben been into like competitive cycling?
What, 4 days?
Yeah. And how are you in the heat? How does that work out for you usually?
Super bad. I faint a lot.
And what is it that you know? What do you know about Iowa?
Corn. It's corn.
Are you just gonna sing that song? You're just like riding your bike, like it's corn, like the whole time for a whole week. Listen.
Yes. Well, obviously, it's probably a bad idea, but I'm excited to do it. Some of my favorite YouTubers, Kara and Nate, did it a few years ago, which is how I learned about it. Got inspired and thought, oh, that would be fun maybe one day. So we signed up for this year. After we signed up, saw it was the hilliest climb ever. And then I looked at, like, what's the temperature in Iowa in July? And it's hot. You camp in people's yards.
And let me guess, you had to pay for this.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I did give someone money to do that.
So Listeners, this is where Ray and I diverge. I think, I don't even know how to put this, but we used to be on the same page about traveling. And now Ray has different interests than I do. I think the older I get, the more I'm like, yeah, I would like to be on a yacht. I would not like to be riding a bike. Well, I would never like to be riding a bicycle. Let's be clear about that. That will never be on my bucket list. But, I just want to sit in a hammock. I would like to learn things. I don't know. I could walk. I mean, the Cotswolds, you guys really made the Cotswolds sparkle. And I would love to do that for like one day.
Did you watch the videos? Because I complained the whole time.
By sparkle, I mean sweat disgustingly. Like sparkle, shimmer, No, I mean, it made it look like a thing worth doing. I'm not going to feel that way about the bike ride, no matter what. And that might be a personal thing. But who knows? Maybe you guys will influence a new generation of people who never ride bikes to do a 450-mile bike race for no reason.
Well, we've started training because they say if you're not like biking all the time, you should probably start getting used to it. So we did 20 miles in one day last week, and it was exhausting. And we've got 80-mile days on that trip. So yeah. So
80 miles?
80 miles there's a couple days where it's like 70, 80. So we're working towards it. I'm feeling good. Like it's nice to practice.
It's nice to have a goal, right? It's nice to have something to look forward to and something to train for. I discovered that recently. Just having something that I want to get stronger for is better than just showing up to the gym and saying, I'm working out now for no reason.
Yes, it's going to be hard. I'm excited to accomplish it, hopefully. So the money you pay for shuts down the roads. There's tens of thousands of people that do it. You stop in towns, you eat corn, you eat pork chops, you make friends, you dance, people spray you with water hoses. Like, it's going to be a good time. You can competitive race it, but most people just like wear tutus and like bop around. It's going to be fun. I hope. There are like police that help and ambulances that take you somewhere if you fall out, which is where I'll be because it's going to be more. I know.
Is Ben going to finish the race without you if you end up heat-stricken aside the road?
I hope he does. Like, I don't want him to, like, sit next to me while I die. Like, he can just keep going. I'll be fine.
Okay. You got your own niche going on. We have, like, budget travel and luxury travel and sister travel and theme park travel and cruise lines. And now Rachel just does weird physical stuff that I would never do. If you're trying to go places without me, nailed it. I will never like scoop in on that trip. I will never do it.
I might call it challenge travel.
Yeah, I like that. It's like with adrenaline junkies. You're probably an accomplishment junkie in the making. And if you climb Mount Everest, I'm going to be so mad at you.
We're baby stepping our way up into some cool stuff. But more on that later as we train weekly for that. We bike.
And that's in July.
That's in July, but every week we're going up in miles. So last week we did 35. This week is 40. I'm going to look so good in August.
Are your legs getting stronger? Like, can you tell if your thighs are getting stronger or not yet?
Yeah.
Yeah, already.
No, I can feel it. Like we're already pushing ourselves in our practices, and we're getting faster. And I'm crying a lot less.
It's fun. It's fun to do together. It's nice that you have that goal and that kind of shared experience.
All right, let's head over to travel news, which is kind of in theme with what we've already been talking about. Spring break. Have you seen Miami's ad campaign?
I did.
Breaking up with spring breakers.
I just saw those and I love it. I thought it was brilliant. That is my favorite kind of sort of subversive tourism marketing.
Yeah. I think Miami is mad because every year spring breakers come to the beach and leave it a mess, trash the town, and leave. And literally Miami said, no, we're not doing that anymore. We're putting in curfews. We're putting in DUI checkpoints, which should have already been a thing. And parking anywhere you go is $100.
Is that real?
That's real. Yeah. Like,
Huh. Okay.
beaches are closed. It's like, don't do it. Like, we tried with you and it's over. A whole destination said, do not come here because we hate you. Just, It must have been so bad for them to be like, y'all done messed up.
I approve this message. Like, I think it's great. And, you know, the whole state of Florida should probably just be like, actually, we're good. If you can't do the bare minimum, like clean up your own beer bottles, get out. There are other places for you. I'm not going to say what those places are because that's rude to do to that place, but go to the place, you know? And I feel like Panama City Beach and Daytona, like they had their day in the spring break sun. And I feel like everybody kind of gets to the point where the locals are like, enough of this. Like, do not take over our beautiful beach town for weeks and destroy it. It's just not worth the tourism dollar from the person who basically only buys cheap beer and stay 6 people to a hotel room and, you know.
Yes, and if you do go to Miami for spring break, what they're doing is like you can't smoke on the beach, you can't bring alcohol, you can't play music. So I think they're trying to deter, like even if you go to spring break, they're like, here's all the things you can't do, so go somewhere else.
Oh, I would be so good at this kind of tourism marketing where I tell everyone to stay home.
Up next is France telling Americans not to visit.
They've been telling us that for years, I feel like.
We don't listen. All right. Let's get into it. Let's get into our topic of the week. Take it away, Ange.
I thought long and hard about what we should talk about this week. And once again, the only thing I want to or am contractually allowed to talk about is my book. Because once this episode airs, it will be out tomorrow. It is book launch eve. I don't even know. I've been waiting so long for this that it feels not real because I lived it in my mind so many times. Like it's just such a strange experience altogether. Very excited, strangely nervous. But I will be glad once it's out because then I enter into a new phase of whatever this is. And I'm excited about that phase because I'm excited to talk to people who read it and get it. Like, I think that's going to be so much fun. And I just haven't gotten to do that yet.
Well, I've read it. And so how about for this week, we dive into it a little bit because you visit, I want to say, 4 countries?
Yeah, it was about, I don't remember. I mean, I do remember. It's just like, how do you count them and how many are in the book? And so for all these like 13 years, I've been saying, I did 12 countries in 12 months and I went back and counted and it's definitely 13 or maybe 14, just depending on like how you do the math. Whoops. How did you mess that up all these years? But either way, it's about 13-ish countries in a year.
Right.
So yeah.
So in 2010, you quit your job and this is all in the book. This is kind of a spoiler. So just get over it. 2010, you quit your job.
Yeah.
Where you were doing PR in New York. You said, bump this, I'm out. You said, hey, Mom and Dad, I'm going to travel around the world alone. He. And Mom said, absolutely not. And Dad said, what's going on? And then you did it. You did it. You left on New Year's Eve?
Yeah. New Year's Eve 2010. And off I went. Fiji was the first place I went. In this list of countries, I had a couple of plane tickets booked maybe through the first 2 or 3 months just to start the ball rolling. I had always heard of these round the world tickets that you could get for a good deal if you like stretched all these legs together. But I'm not very good at planning things in advance like that because you just don't know what's going to happen, especially a whole year. I wanted to have flexibility. So I was like, I'll just book as I go and I'll figure it out. So,
all right. So you did not have a plan. You got on a plane to Fiji and said, for the next year, I'm just going.
I had a general idea sketched out. I was going to do 6 continents in a year. And yeah, the book explains what happened there, but plans do change. And whether it's because you're an idiot or because the world is falling apart, plans change all the time. So I definitely found that booking as I went was a better solution than the round the world flight.
All right, so you went Fiji to where?
Fiji to New Zealand for a couple of weeks.
Mordor. Is that Mordor?
Oh, Mordor was there big time. I went to Mordor where the eye mountain is and the volcano, and yeah, Mount Doom. That's what it is.
Was it there? Was the eye there?
Yes. I don't know. I was doing a very long hike and I couldn't see anything but rage because I was doing a hike I didn't want to do. Anyway, couple weeks in New Zealand, couple weeks in Australia. Actually like a month in Australia. And then
a month in Australia.
Mm-hmm.
What were you doing for a month in Australia?
You have to read the book. I don't know how to say.
She was kissing a boy.
How dare you? How dare you?
Disaster. But that's all in the book. All right.
And flirting. Yeah. Well, fine. Whatever. And then I went to Bali for, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks. And then I went to what?
Wait. When I think of Bali, I think of beautiful, gorgeous, relaxing. But when I read the chapter in the book, it was scary. Listen.
Did you think that was the scariest chapter in the book?
Yes, I did. Yes. And I'm not spoiling anything. Like, because it was like, I was reading. I remember you telling me this when I was, I don't know, 18. When was this? But then rereading it, I'm like, okay. So Bali, left Bali, ran out of Bali.
Well, here's a spoiler. You want to hear a spoiler?
Maybe.
That I didn't include in the book because I just didn't have the word count. I came home in between Bali and Thailand to surprise the whole family. It's not a spoiler for you because you were there. But I surprised the whole family, and Rachel was in a beauty pageant, and I wanted to come home and support her. So I snuck home.
It was a scholarship pageant?
So yeah, that's something that didn't make it in the book because I did pop home for a week. Went back out, went to Thailand, right in time for Songkran, which is their annual water festival, water guns and full-on shenanigans, partying in the streets, just so fun. And then also I went to Laos on a bus tour, like a group bus tour, super fun. Again, more water festival, more water gun fights with kids in these tiny villages. So great. And then I got really sick. I think I might have swallowed some ditch water from a squirt gun or something because I got really, really sick. So I spent 2 weeks in Thailand just writhing in agony. I know, it sounds so fun, right? Like, everybody travel. It's great. It's the reality.
Absolutely.
It's the reality. You think Eat, Pray, Love is like, it's a little bit of dating. It's a little bit of boyfriends. It's a lot of pasta and some yoga, and everything turns out great. But that was not quite my experience. I went to Greece from Thailand and landed right as all the austerity protests were happening, and they were rioting around the city, and it was a whole, like, really, they were defaulting on their economy, and the EU was threatening them, and they were basically cutting everyone's pensions and stealing everyone's money back. And so everybody was really mad.
Meanwhile, you're like, this isn't Mamma Mia.
I was like, this is not nearly as musical as I thought it was going to be. Yeah, that part was kind of weird. And I got robbed like the moment I got there. So there was that. But I spent like 6 weeks in Greece. So it couldn't have been that bad. Once I got out to the Greek Isles, I found my place and my people and my dance clubs and my tasty food. So yeah, that was really fun. This is where things went off the rails.
Emotionally, or yeah,
with the plan, just with what I had planned for the rest of the year, things kind of, well, and my trips just started getting longer and longer in places. And this is where I added 3 destinations I didn't intend to go to at all. You can find out why I made that large detour in the book. But So I threw Turkey, Spain, and England into the mix, which I really didn't intend to go to Europe at all, because I've been to Europe and I had this other idea of how it was going to go. So wasn't really planning to do much Europe other than Greece. And there I was. I went to Turkey right after for like 10 days with a friend that I had met in Thailand. Brand new friend. She's like, I'm going to Turkey, meet me there. Okay, fine. And that's how things started working. So that was amazing. Hot air balloons, Turkish delight, not as good as you would think. After that, I went to Running of the Bulls in Spain, in Pamplona, which
Did you run from a bull? The people
uh,
want to know.
should I tell them? Or should I say read the
Read
book?
the book. Read the book. Read the book.
Yeah, it was just like Hemingway said, a testosterone fueled booze fest. That's probably a lot more fun if you're a dude.
That's a Friday night at the Miller House. Whoop, whoop.
Right? Okay, so Turkey, Spain, England. This, you definitely have to read the book for all this because there's a lot of interesting plot points here. But I decided to pop back to New York for a friend's wedding, and it was just easier to get there from London. It's so easy to pop back. So I did come back again. That makes it into the book. That little pop back trip makes it into the book. But anyway, did England for a few weeks, met a ghost, cried a lot. Yeah, and then there were riots. As I was leaving London, riots were breaking out all over the country. People were setting double-decker buses on fire. There was, protests out of control. So I came back home for a couple of weeks and then was like, okay, I'm going back. I'm doing the thing. I had kind of bumped my Egypt. I always wanted to go to Egypt, but I bumped it because the Arab Spring happened this year. It was like a domino effect in the Middle East where one country, and I think it was Tunisia, started it, and they were like overthrowing, and social media lit it on fire. And so country after country after country in sort of the Middle East and the Arab world were overthrowing their governments or protesting or whatever. And that went to Egypt. And Egypt had severe violence and protests and unrest and lots of deaths. The government was overthrown. It was a whole thing. So like, not really the best time for me to be going there, like in the spring, summer, like I initially thought I would. So by the time I was going, it was maybe late September, early October, and things had settled down. They had a new regime in place. And yeah, of course, as soon as I got there, things went sideways again. So there was some sidewaysness there.
I just sidebar here. The title of the book has so many levels. First, Flirting with Disaster, because when you think about going on a round the world trip and quitting your job and doing all these things, you expect it to be like mesmerizing and perfect and this and that. And sure, it was good at times, but there's a lot that goes on in this book that is not Eat, Pray, Love. It's rough. So you've got that. Then you've got Flirting with Disaster. Boys, no spoilers. And then, of course, you've got the infamous Flirting with Disaster Molly Hatchet song title, which, full circle,
we get into in the book.
Yeah, no spoilers. But anyway, Egypt might be my favorite chapter of yours.
Really?
The thing you do, I did not know you could do. That's something I would do.
The thing I did? I'm definitely not thinking of what you're thinking.
I didn't know you okay, well, I'll just say it. I didn't know you could just boat on the Nile.
Oh, yeah.
The Nile, there's crocodiles. You can't do that. And you're on the Nile for you're sleeping on a boat on the Nile for, I don't know, 10 weeks.
2 nights. Yeah, 2 nights. It felt like a long time because there's no bathroom. There's no inside. You're just literally on a floating mattress cruising along the Nile. It's incredible. I swam in the Nile River. Yeah, I'm still kind of geeked out about that. If you learn anything in school about Egypt, for whatever reason, it's just, that is the mesmerizing destination. It's everybody's bucket list. It's the pyramids. How big really are they? And are there really mummies everywhere? And
Is there a Pizza Hut next to the pyramids? There is.
There is. There is. It was an incredible destination. Definitely one of my favorites. I'm not good at picking favorites, but I was there 2 weeks and it was a group tour. I wasn't comfortable going by myself post Arab Spring, and that was a very smart decision. It was so fun. We had one of those groups that just clicked and everybody had a great time. And it was the most intense itinerary probably that I had the whole time. There was no sleeping and it was so wonderful. Hot air balloons. It was crazy wonderful.
I really enjoy your Egypt chapter. I feel like I learned a lot when I read the book. Like, I didn't even know this was a country and you could do this. So if nothing else, it's inspirational to travel. Except when that guy groped you in Egypt. That was rough.
Spoiler alert!
Well, here we go. I'm not giving away so many things.
After Egypt, I went to Kenya, and
we talked about Kenya last week.
We did. I landed in Kenya, and it's like they knew I was there, and the State Department's like, hey, by the way, terrorism everywhere, so watch out, Americans in Kenya. Great. So there was that to watch out for. We talked about it last week. You can hear all about Kenya if you listen to last week's episode. And then after that, I went to South Africa. And that was my last country where I was solo traveling. I was by myself. So of course, all these feelings are coming up. That's where I spent my 30th birthday. And I was like, what am I doing with my life? And that's kind of where it all came to a head, and decisions had to be made. And
do you want to tell everybody what you did on your 30th birthday, or do you want them to find out in the book?
I feel like people can guess, and I'll just let them guess because, yeah, it's good. It is exactly what I wanted to be. Well, no, it was the second choice for what I wanted to do for my birthday. But because of decisions that were made throughout the year, I didn't end up where I thought I was going to be. And so this was, yeah. Follow your heart. Don't do that. Terrible idea. Don't do it. Yeah, don't follow it right off a cliff. Don't do it. It was time to go home. But before I went home from this solo year around the world, I met our brother in London. We did a Christmassy jaunt around Europe, and I introduced him to some people I met.
I was not invited.
You were like 9.
I was probably 19 by then.
So that was that. And that was the whole trip.
So a year of disasters and other types of disasters. I have to ask, did you die?
No, but I was just doing an interview yesterday for the book, and I can't tell you who it was with, but it'll come out soon. So much bad stuff happened in 2011. If you pick a year to travel around the world by yourself, that was not the year. And I mean, you couldn't have possibly known, but it was a disaster of a year. The biggest cyclone ever that hit Australia at that point, the worst flooding ever that's ever hit Queensland, the biggest earthquake that destroyed the town of Christchurch weeks after I was there, the biggest earthquake in Japan that sent the tsunami, just tens of thousands of people died in the tsunami. I wasn't in Japan, thank God, but I was in Bali, and of course Mom's like, the text message I think is in the book. And it's quality. There's a lot of text messages from Mom and Munga in the book, and they're just so good.
So what you're saying is you did not die, and if you were going to die, it would have been that year.
I mean, I am going to die. Let's be clear. There's 100% mortality rate, but I didn't die in that year. And that's a real testament to the Lord's plan for my life, because clearly there was more for me past 2011. And otherwise I wouldn't have survived it. I missed so many things by a moment. By like the one massacre in Egypt, I missed it by a couple of hours. And I'm talking, I was in the square. And a couple of hours later, 25 people got murdered. Like, come on. That's crazy to think about. Did I tell my parents about that? No. I was just hoping the news did not trickle over. So yeah, it was crazier than I ever anticipated. But I did not die.
Well, it is all in the book. If you want to actually, like, word for word, everything that happened, not everything that happened, but a lot of the things that happened. Travel tip, sis, for this round the world venture?
I think I'm contractually obligated to say, buy my book in stores tomorrow, everywhere you buy
book?
books.
Oh, this book?
Look who got the first copy. It's Ray Ray. Yeah, it's in stores tomorrow. It's in libraries. It's on Audible. I read it myself. So, how do I put this? It's Eat, Pray, Love, but funny and terrifying.
That's great. I think that's the headline. That's the headline right there. All right. Hey, what are you doing this weekend?
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, so I'm promoting my book all next week. Rachel's coming up. We're going to go look for my book in stores. I'm not going to freak out though. I've imagined it in my mind so many times that I think I'm going to have no reaction at all.
I think so. I think you're anticipating something for so long, and now that it's here, it's like, okay, let's just do it because I'm tired of thinking about it.
It's here. It's here.
And hey, if you buy the book, tell us. Say, hey, I bought the book. That would be super cool. There's a dog. I don't know where my dogs are. That's a bad sign.
The boy says hello. Hello, boy.
That's a very bad sign.
Yeah, they're getting into shenanigans. Well, that is it for this week. By the time we're back for another episode, I will be a, for sure, New York Times bestselling author and on to writing my next book, right?
That's right.
And Rachel will have added 50 more miles onto her Ragbrai training situation.
Like Rabbi training?
Okay, what is it called?
Ragbrai.
Ragbrai.
Rag.
I can't wait to tell someone you're doing rabbi training.
Hey, I'm 65 miles into my rabbi training.
Love it. Love this journey for you.
Hey, everyone.
Honestly, thanks for rabbi training sounds more fun than a bike race through Iowa, but what do I know? Thanks for being here, everybody. It's always a treat.
It's always something. All right.
It's always.
Hey, we'll see you next week. Buy Angie's book. We're gonna be together, so maybe we'll do a podcast in person. That's cool. Yeah. Goodbye. Like, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend. Bye.